All right, our next committee meeting is Parks and Recreation, and Michael Lillquist is the chair.
Oh, excuse me, I'm not ready. Who's going to introduce this item? It has to do with the Greenways report? No, sorry, that's later. Done. Oh, check at least. That's right. We have one item before us today, and that is a Chuckanut Center lease agreement. The Chuckanut Center, which was formerly known as the Center for Local Self-Reliance, is seeking to occupy the former Fairhaven Rose Garden Caretaker's House in Fairhaven Park. They've already fixed up the caretaker's house, and the lease is required, and they are requesting a no-cost lease, and that'll be in consideration of the public programs and the services that the center will be offering. Per the city code, however, the city council is required to approve a lease if it sets a lower than market rate. Leslie Bryson?
Leslie Bryson, Parks and Recreation Director. So back in 2008, Parks and Recreation came forward to the council to ask to surplus the Rose Garden House in Fairhaven. It had been used as a caretaker house, and then just before that as a youth hostel, and they had moved out because they wanted to expand, and we wanted to remove the house. We didn't have a use for it, and council agreed, and we put out a request for proposal, and the Center for Local Self-Reliance submitted a proposal to turn the house into programming for to teach people about local self-reliance, about gardening programs, food programs, and related programs. So we entered into a license with them at that time so they could have access to the house to renovate it, and they have been working on that for the past 8 or 9 years, and they're getting close to their occupancy permit. They also had a license to operate the grounds, and as you've driven by in the last few years, you've probably noticed the gardens going in. They've put in a gatehouse, and they've done quite a few improvements. So with me today is Shannon Maris. She is, I believe, the president of the board of the Chuckanut Center, as they are now known. And she's going to talk a little bit about the programs that they offer. She's going to show you some photos of the things they've done, talks a bit about the programs that they offer in consideration for the reduction in rent.
Thank you. So we've had the property in the house for 7, almost 8 years now, and we can go through the pictures first. So this is what it was like when we put in our request for proposal from the parks. It was boarded up and had been a hostel for that time. This is what it looks like now after painting and repairs on the outside. This was the original caretaker's house without the back. Yeah. Oh, that's through the gates there. 1912 was when the house was built. It's a Cyrus Gates house, which matches the Woodstock Conservancy house, which is interesting historical correlation there. And then we put the gatehouse up, a timber frame gatehouse, which doubles as a bus stop. The bus stop is right in front there, and so the benches are frequently occupied by people getting out of the rain to catch the bus. And the fence line there, because we have a resident herd of deer that come through, so in order to have any type of gardens or orchards, we needed to put in the fence line. It's over 450 feet of fence. That's the picture of the interior of the house after the windows had been exposed, and that's the wall between the kitchen and the dining room that we were opening up. This is what it is now, so that we have open space and meeting room there in the living room, and if we have demonstrations for cooking, gardening, food preservation, it's open there from the kitchen. And this is our latest project, almost done, which was putting a back porch onto the house. There was not one. There was just a little stoop there, and for ADA accessibility, it was necessary to put. That was the most accessible route of travel, and so we added that and put a kitchen herb garden next to the side. And as you can see, there's still a little bit of priming. We haven't finished the paint job on it, but we are 95% of the way done. And the one of the few things remaining are final sign-offs on the building occupancy. We need to have the building department go through for final occupancy planning for parking, our ADA parking and parking in general, and then we are ready. So that's where we are today, which is pretty exciting. Oh, one more. There's the aerial of, well, not an aerial. It's actually a roof shot of a panorama of the entire site. So on the right would be the road in, and then as it circles around and goes to the north with the historic structures still there, the gazebo and such. So quite a change in 100 years. And the programming that we're planning, that we have presently done, we've held classes there for mason bees and fermented foods, how to prune fruit trees, how to divide hostas, bokashi, mason bees. We've had events there that are open to the public and lots of fun. Every year we have a spring plant sale. We have an annual cider press that is coming up. We've had a summer square dance for the community, and we also hosted Skillshare Fair there. And we've held true to our request for proposal that was done in 2008, and with our intention that our organization partner with individuals and other organizations to create a variety of educational gardens and opportunities that support and demonstrate our mission statement to give back to the greater community. And so we support proposals and presentations that either directly donate food to the community or through entities such as the food bank or educational components to offer to community, youth, and specific groups. So I was pretty thrilled to see we have stayed right on course for all of those things. I have a summary of the different contributions that we've made and all the house improvements and our list and totals of the food that we've donated to the food bank in pounds and the different groups that have participated with us. So if you'd like to see that, I can have that added to the list. But any questions?
Thank you. I forgot to mention, joining me on the committee are council members Murphy and Barker. And Roxanne, you got a question?
Well, I just wanted to say that I really support and I thank you for this work that you do for our community, and that's why I'm proud to move that we support the lease agreement, and I move that we do so.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend approval of the agreement. Any further discussion? Councilmember Barker.
I wanted to thank you all for the work that you've done. Having been there at the beginning, I had a nice tour, and then to come back and see where it had been. I was able to attend the Skillshare Fair with my daughter, and we learned a lot. It was really exciting. The resiliency, I mean, I see why you would change your name, but I loved that resiliency. I think that's a piece in our community we really need to focus on, because it's that which will get us through so many things. So the concept is brilliant, and the fact that you have been able to do it while you've been doing all these improvements, I'm looking forward to what you guys will be able to do, or what y'all will be able to do when you're not having to redo a house and everything else at the same time. Yeah. So thank you so much for the improvements and giving the community this space. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Hamel and then Borneman.
I, too, wanted to thank you for the work that your organization does. I think it's very important for the community for the same reasons Councilmember Barker just articulated. My only question is, are the programs and services free to the public? And if they're not free, is there a way for those with low incomes to scholarship into the programs?
Yes, we're discussing how we're going to set up the programming. Ideally, I would love to have it for free, and that would mean offsetting it with some sort of sponsorship, because obviously we do have to still have repairs on the building and the site, so we'll need the income to support that. But within my power, I'd like to make it as low cost as possible.
Thank you.
Harry?
Yeah, I also want to just thank the group for doing such an amazing job and for doing the council proud. When we approved this, we went out on a limb. We do go out on a limb at times to approve these kind of things, but the trust that folks are going to do a really good job, and we're in. And you did. I think you exceeded expectations, at least for me, at this point, of how far along you've come with that. In the services, the programs and others are great. I missed the roses, but what you have created there is really, there's something to really be proud of, and it fits so well with the Bellingham community as a whole. So, yeah, I support them moving forward, and really applaud the job that you've done. It's great.
Thank you.
Well, I'd just like to say that I agree. I think you've done a great job. I know I've taken a youth group there, and that program was for free. They showed us the garden and talked about, I think it was the plant cycle in winter at the time. Just to clarify, the center is still responsible for all upkeep and grounds maintenance, and they'll still be paying the leasehold tax. It's just the rent that we are reducing. Mayor Lindo, Kelly.
Well, I miss the roses too, but not as much as I appreciate what you've done. And I went there before there was any work done on the house. And this was my park when I grew up, so I remember all the different iterations that went through. I really appreciate the fact that this is an interactive site in our city that not only looks great, but actually allows our community to interact with resources that we have that you are stewarding for us, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Much. Thank
And I'd like to make just one final comment, too. These are the kind of partnerships that are really important in our community so we can continue to offer more programs than we can just with our staff. So by partnering with other organizations, such as the Chuckanut Center, we can use our facilities to expand our offerings to the community.
So I'm going to say one more comment, and, Gene, go ahead.
I'll be brief. I just want to echo everything that everybody said. I remember when Mr. Wilson came to the council with this proposal, didn't have much to show, but as Terry said, when you see things and try to visualize them, and then they come forward, that house looks wonderful. The only thing I would say is your beard was darker and my hair was longer back then, but it's exciting. This is one of the best parts of the job, is seeing things like this happen. And like Leslie said, public-private partnerships are great, and thanks for all your work.
So I'm going to make one small comment and then call for the committee vote. It sometimes isn't clear, I think, to people that this really is open to the public. I don't know what kind of signage you have up as a public welcome, if someone's just
Well,
walking
it'll
by.
remain, it's part of the lease in our license agreement. It remains a city park.
Right, but I don't know if
So-
everyone can tell because it's so well maintained, and the house is there.
Right.
Maybe some signage might be nice. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor on the committee of the motion to recommend approval of the agreement signify by saying aye. Opposed? Great. We'll bring that forth, the unanimous recommendation tonight. And that's the end of the committee.